Okay, so this video is in response to all the questions that I keep getting to my personal Facebook and to my 49th Parallel Facebook page. So there's some things that I want to discuss, and the number one question I keep getting is, did Kevin have something to do with Sam's disappearance? And I'm gonna say no. Why? Well, we got involved on the 8th of August, a week after she went missing, and have been involved ever since then. The first 2 weeks while we were on the mountain searching, I think we ran into Kevin twice, just briefly, and that was at the trailhead. Talked to him briefly, and that was it. In any investigation, missing persons situation, the significant other is always first suspect. And myself and the rest of the guys on the 49th that was up there searching, every day on our downtime, we would ask, "Hey, did Kevin do it? Was Kevin involved?" At that time, we had barely a timeline and whatnot of what could have happened, but soon after, I think the third week, we finally ran into him and camped out and joined forces, and have been and was searching together ever since then. So there's a lot of things that you can just tell in a person on their intentions, guilt, feelings of guilt, and whatnot, and never picked that up from Kevin, as everybody knows and most people know. Yeah, I was in prison for 5 years. You know, 5 years surrounded by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of killers and murderers and rapists and thieves. And you get to know people, and you get really good at reading people and what they're about. The number one thing about murderers and killers is their eyes. That's where you can look into somebody's eyes and you could tell, this person is a murderer or a killer. Um, and I don't see that in Kevin's eyes at all. Not one bit. Kevin's a really hard man. He grew up in the swamps of Louisiana. Um, and a lot of people ask, well, he don't show much emotion. You know, did he ever cry in front of you or break down? No, he never broke down in front of me. He never cried in front of me, and that's just because the type of man is he is. I mean, that doesn't mean oh, he's guilty because he hasn't shown emotion. He hasn't had his breakdown moment, and I'm sure he has. Just there was nobody around to witness him. So just because a person don't act the way or respond the way you think they should doesn't mean that they're guilty of anything. And we never know how we're going to respond to a situation. I mean, we might think that, oh, hey, yeah, we're going to respond to situations standing on our feet and stay strong, and you fall on your knees and in despair, and wail like a mother who lost her child. You never know how you're going to respond or how anybody else is going to respond when they're struck with grief or sorrow or loss, or fear. So I know another thing that I keep getting asked by a lot of people is, why did Kevin tell the family that Samantha was missing via Facebook? I get that one a lot too. Or people commenting on it saying, "Oh, that's a shitty thing to do," blah blah blah. Well, I'm gonna tell you, there's probably a handful of places on that mountain that you get cell phone reception. Some places you get a call in and not a call out. Some places you could get texts in or texts out. Sometimes, you'll get full 4G in some areas and be able to, to to get data streamed in or out. So it's just it's a crap shot up there on cell phone reception. And being up there, you can't just make a call out. I think one time I was able to get a call out, and it took me 3 hours of dancing around the mountain to be able to get service to be able to get a call out. But a text or a message I was able to get out just fine. So you know the Facebook thing, I asked Kevin about it months ago when we first got really involved in it, and it was just he posted that out because that's all the only way he could get the call out to everybody was a Facebook post. And the nice thing about a Facebook post or a Facebook message versus a text message is you can go and you can put it in there. And later on, we started doing this after we discovered that it was you were able to do it, and you could go onto Messenger or Facebook and write a post and go to upload it and then run around, and then all of a sudden, it'll go out when you cross signal without you knowing. So when I inquired about Kevin about that, and that's what it was. It was hey, I was only able to get call service out or text message out, so I was able to get a Facebook message out by chance, and that's what it was. So all this speculation about Kevin, it was timeline, his 911 call. I keep getting a lot of that. Yeah, I've listened to the 911 call, and then again, there we go. We don't know. Oh, he seems too calm and collected. Oh, he stutters on things. Oh, he can't remember some things. That doesn't mean anything. That next day, that morning, I think at 1 or 3 a.m., whenever finally the park ranger decided to go up there with them, that whole first week that Kevin was up there, he's surrounded by nothing but law enforcement officers, search and rescue, and every time when we're on the mountain and you're on your downtime, you're, asking questions, you're going over scenarios, and if he did something or if there was something there, it would have came up. It would have instantly came up. Oh, his story's not matching up, or oh, he's got some, he's just coming off all weird, and whatnot. So the fact that he spent the first week surrounded by law enforcement officers, search and rescue, and nobody brought up anything. I mean that says something right there in my book. But we can go through all the timelines. We can go and analyze his 911 call. We can go and look at what he did do and what he didn't do, and try to use that to determine guilt or to try to use that to determine innocence. But the one thing that to me proves innocence is what did the guy do? What does his actions do? And I'm not talking about the ones that we could use to defame him or discredit him. I'm talking about what did he do? I mean, when he found out, he shot up there. I mean, he went up there. And a lot of people think that at that time that it was still dark. I mean, it wasn't dark till late. Until after 9 o'clock does it get dark up there. So. That's what a good. He's not going to sit around and wait for the police to come over and then go up there with the cops. I mean, he went straight up there, and he didn't stop. I mean, if the dude was, if he had anything to do with Sam's disappearance, and for one, from the very get-go, we all know this is public information. The police never thought that there was foul play involved from the very get-go. So if you're did something to her. And nobody's worried about foul play, then why put on the facade? Why go through the motions of continuing a search? It's like, hey, dude, you're scot-free. They don't think it's foul play. You go sit on your couch and live comfortably and not go up there and suffer. I mean, the dude was sleeping on the ground with a water bottle as a pillow. I mean, that's some devotion. There's only two people that spent a maximum amount of time on that mountain, and that was Kevin and myself. Nobody else has spent the time on that mountain like me and him has. And his time on the mountain dwarfs mine. I mean, for the first week, for the first week, he was up there 24/7, coming down just for a break, or to get resupplied. But the whole 3 months, he was up there nonstop, 24/7. So I mean, that's devotion that's incomparable. When a murderer or somebody thinks that they got away with a crime, they're not going to keep on, putting on the motions of, why would you want to keep yourself inserted into the scene? Because all you're doing is bring him, keep him more focused on it. The whole time the focus was on Kevin. So why would he want to be in the spotlight? Why keep yourself, on the forefront if you had something to do with your girlfriend or fiance's, you know, disappearance? You wouldn't. You would just cut out, um, and go and sit back and let law enforcement and let other people deal with it. And just that's when I've talked to many of killers and murderers. That's the thing. It's like, hey, I have nothing to worry about. Nobody's investigating me, so I'm gonna go and hide out in the cut and make sure that the focused on my way. No, Kevin didn't do that. No, Kevin was up there devoted. I mean, in life-threatening places if you know that she's not down there. If he did something to her, he's not going to go into the places where you could end up dead or seriously injured or crippled. You're not going to put yourself in that situation. I mean, it's not like you got cameras around you focused on everything, following you around. You could just go and say you went into the sketchy places and not even go in there. So why are you going to go in there and risk your life and limb searching areas that you would know she wasn't in? To what? To try to fool, the people around him, which was a handful, me, crew, and a couple other people on his side. No, you're not gonna do that. And then it's gonna come out. Things will come out in casual conversation. You bring things up, and it's gonna come out, and yeah, I don't see it. Kevin's a really great guy. The devotion that dude has is just impeccable, and unmatched out there for what someone does, for a loved one. I mean, he did everything that I would expect of a man to do if their woman went missing. And there's people out there who I feel that didn't do enough for their loved one when they get missing, and I know I get it all the time. I don't know, Bread and Circus, if you're watching this, but I know you keep asking me about her brothers and why they weren't out there and putting those comments on there, and why am I so devoted to it? Well, at first I was devoted to because it's a woman lost out there in the world, in my neck of the woods, and she needed hardcore devoted people to look for her and find her. So that's why I was so devoted to it. Whether you think she was dead at the time or alive, that really doesn't matter. All that matters is that there's people that love her, and she was missing, and she needed to be found. So her loved ones were at peace. I'm not going to speak on what other people didn't do and why they didn't do it. I'm just going to speak on what we've done, what Kevin's done, what the people who I was around decided to do with their time. And when it came to Kevin, it was, I'm going to be on the mountain. I'm going to search every inch that I could search, whether I think she's there or not, because it needs to be covered. Which brings me to, my next follow up on, well, if Lisa didn't believe she was on the mountain, and if I didn't believe she was on the mountain, why did we search? Oh, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. If foul play, if anybody ever considered foul play, why go on with the search? And the number one reason is that it had to be crossed off. What we know for a fact, she was on that mountain that day. That is a fact. Lots of people were on that mountain that day. That's a fact. And she didn't come down. She didn't go home. Did she come down or not? We don't know. But we know that she didn't make it to her car and drive home. That we do know. So, it was instantly, search and rescue thought that, believed she was on the mountain. We believe that she was on the mountain, and only through time of searching and discovering that there is no sign of her up here do you start to go and think, okay, well, then if we're not finding evidence, then this must be evidence in itself that there's no evidence. So what else can be another scenario that would support the fact that we're not finding any evidence of her on the mountain, and that would be abduction. I think it's a way higher, greater likelihood that she was abducted by the trailhead from a stranger than by somebody that she knows. Um, because because it is, yeah. It's just that, I mean, it's broad daylight, 6 o'clock in August 1st. You know, if you were driving away with her in the passenger seat, people gonna see you. It's you'd have someplace close where you can go drive into where you know that nobody's gonna see you pull her out of the car and move her to a different location. You're not gonna drive, an hour away and go and drop somebody off on the side of the road because you risk being seen. So yeah, no, it's a way higher probability that somebody from around there, a stranger, nabbed her, because they know the area, they know the terrain, they know where they can go and hide or go and take somebody, and not be seen or not be discovered. So yeah, Kevin, no. I could sit here all night and give good reasons why I don't believe Kevin, is involved, and I know that people are gonna, lash out at me, um, because I view that way. I met Kevin's dad, spent a lot of time with Kevin's dad, and I used to not believe when I was a kid, but parents always say, "Oh, I know when my kid's doing bad and something's up." Parents could feel it, parents could sense it, whether they want to admit it or not. And yeah, no, Kevin was raised by two really good people, and they didn't raise no killer. You got to have a motive. I don't see a motive whatsoever, and I don't feel it. I don't feel that from him. I don't see that into his eyes, at all. Um, let's talk about psychics. Most all the psychics who've been involved on this case that I've talked to, all of them said Kevin didn't have anything to do with it. I think there was a couple who said that they felt that he may know something, but the majority, 99% of all of them said, yeah, no, Kevin didn't have anything to do with it. Now, I mean, I don't, put a lot of faith in psychics and oracles and whatnot, but even still, even at that very least. And, some of the people who were close to Kevin and close to Sam, who knew him from the very beginning, when I had doubts, I asked them, hey, could Kevin have done something with her? Could Kevin be a suspect? Do you think Kevin, should be looked into? And it was, oh, no, 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 no. No, Kevin has, no, no, I don't believe it. Kevin had nothing to do with it. 100%, without a doubt, Kevin's not involved, so don't even bring that up and don't even ask that question. Okay, cool, I'll take your word for it because you know him best. Or you know him better than I do. And then slowly over time, after getting to know him, I got to know him really good. And out there, and in the mountains, you get to know people way quicker than you do in the city or on the street. When you could tell somebody's strength. You could go down to Seattle and go to the gym and look at all these guys pumping iron and be like, oh, those guys are strong dudes. You take them out in the mountains and let them sit for 3 days and they freaking cry like little bitches. Um, Out there, your metal is tested. Your strengths will shine in an instant, and your weaknesses will come out very, very quickly. And that's why not too many people spend a lot of time out there, because of that. Yeah, a day up there of knowing somebody is like a week down here knowing somebody, or a month down here of knowing somebody. And yeah, I don't see it. When I first went to Kevin's and Sam's apartment, I felt a house of love. I felt a house of good vibes, positivity. You see the pictures of her and Kevin all over the apartment, and they're both smiling. You could tell that they were in love and that they were very happy. And so yeah, there it is. I mean, we could all speculate and whatnot, but that don't get us anywhere. All it's going to get is division, and look what it's come to. I mean, it's become this huge division, and now there's factions. There's, oh yeah, the 49th faction, the Kevin faction, the Lisa faction, the Truth Page faction. There's all these factions like we're in the medieval times, and everybody's all at each other's throat, or speculating amongst. I've seen statements where people have said that, oh, me and Kevin have known each other for years, and we're both involved in her disappearance. um, you know, and it's just asinine. It's lunacy, and it's utterly disgusting. Um, that this stuff is going around out there, and that there's actually people who feed into it and who want to take it as gospel because somebody wrote it or somebody said it, and they take it as gospel as the truth, and then they go and spread it, and then don't even realize that what they're spreading is falsity. I had one that was a police officer send me a private message, just dogging on me. Oh, you're a POS, stolen valor convict. You probably had something to do with her freaking death, or help covering it up, blah, 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 blah. I couldn't believe it. So, I had a buddy of mine who is a cop. I was like, hey, man, I don't want people out there in the world hating me. And people ask me, why do you care? Why do you care? Why do you care? I don't want nobody out there hating me. That's why I won't put a tattoo on somebody who I think that a year down the road they're going to hate. Because I don't want them 5 years down the road be like, man, I hate that dude. Why do you let me get this tattoo? So if I don't think that they'll love it for life, I'm not going to put it on them. Because I just don't want people out there hating me for no good reason, or for a good reason. So I reached out to my buddy who's a police officer. I was like, hey, man, will you reach out to this dude and just tell him what you know about me? Set the guy straight. Let him know that, yeah, he's been following the wrong dude, been getting his mind filled with a bunch of BS and a bunch of lies. And, because I don't want no police officer out there thinking that of me. And yeah, so my buddy did, reached out to the guy. They talked on the phone for a good hour over it. And then, yeah, next thing I know, I get a message thing, saying, yeah, hey, man, I'm so sorry that I let somebody put this view in my mind about you, that because I don't know you. And I just want to say I'm sorry for disparaging against you and saying what I said. So, you can't just follow people's words blindly because and that's the greatest thing with some people. They take one truth, and they'll expose one truth and show one truth and one fact, and then they'll use that one fact or one truth to try to support the rest of their lies, the rest of their BS. And if you notice in some of and one person particularly, he always brings that up. Oh, well, don't forget that I pointed this out about Bud Carr being a criminal. This extensive, huge, long criminal history, which I only have 2 felonies on my record. That's it. So, and then, but he create all these other lies, and say, oh yeah, well, it's truth because I exposed this one truth. And that's what all great liars do, is they make sure that they actually have one truth of fact, and they try to use that to support all of their lies and all of their BS, and they always will keep bringing that up over and over and over again, to support their claims, which is just bullshit. I'm sure that the only fake DD214 I have out there is one that he created or someone created for him, because I've never created no fake DD214. So yeah, no, I don't believe Kevin did it. I don't believe Kevin involved. Kevin's coming up here tomorrow. He's come over and met my wife and met my kids. My kids love him. My wife loves him. Met a lot of my friends. And tomorrow he's coming up. We're having a big shindig tomorrow, to enjoy the rest. Why did Kevin delete his Facebook? That's another one. He got sick of it. He got sick of all the speculations, just like when after I became search manager, it was like 3 or 4 days after I became search manager, I removed myself from the Find Sam Sayers page. Why? Because people were on there just spreading total lies about me and saying the most horrible, hateful fucking shit about me. And I had no avenue for recourse, so I was just like, yeah, I'm out. And Kevin the same way. And I encouraged him. I was like, dude, you just need to shut your Facebook down, get out of the scene, and get back to life, because you have to get back to living. You can't search, the whole winter. You have to get back to winter, to working. You have to get back to living, as hard as it might be, but you got to do that. And, you got to kill your Facebook. So, that's not coming up every day because it will consume you. People just, I mean, daily I get dozens and dozens and dozens of questions, either on my 49th page, Facebook page, my personal page, or comments on my YouTube channel, you know, and it will consume you of all these questions, and trying to defend yourself constantly, or trying to, appease other people, or put suspicions to rest, or just answer general questions from the populace, because people, need to know. There's people out there who I communicate with all the time, because, they put so much support in. They put so much energy into it that they, in my mind, they deserve to be able to know what's going on and keep in the loop. And also, she's still missing, so her story still needs to be told. It can't be forgotten about. I know here next week I got or week after next, I got 2 interviews with some news people on it, to be able to keep the story out there. And another thing, if you read the statistics out there, there are many, many cases where people have gone missing in an area, and it was searched thoroughly, fine tooth comb, found nothing, and then a year later, 5 years later, 10 years later, they finally go back and they find them in the place where they were already searched. Um, David Francis's son of the John Francis Foundation, it was the same way with his son. They searched and searched and searched in the area, didn't find him. It took a year. Finally, after a year, they found him in the same area that was already searched a year later. So, just because we didn't find any evidence, just because we didn't find any sign, doesn't mean that she's not up there. It just means that she's hasn't been found, and only time will be able to reveal her to us. That's the only thing that we can do now, is wait for time to transpire, and when the right circumstances come together, she'll manifest one way or the other, and then everyone's answers will be known. And it's going to be really, really horrible for all the people who want to sit there and accuse Kevin of having something to do with it. And come spring, me and Kevin go back up there, or hunters or somebody else is up on the mountain playing, and they find her up there. What are all of those people going to feel? How are you going to feel, when she's found up there? Or how are you going to feel if, she's found in somebody's basement, or she's found in some cargo container somewhere in one of these hick freaking backwoods places that we have up here, which is numerous. Snohomish County has an epidemic of missing people down there, and they don't just all go lost in the woods. So yeah, time. Okay, another thing people keep asking, why not searching? Why not searching? Well, it's too dangerous to search out there. For one, up high, the elevations, it's all snow covered. You got more rain, more wind, fall, more rock slides, more snow slides. It's actually really, really cold, so you're at a greater chance of hypothermia. And if you're cold and stiff, you got a greater chance of of becoming injured and hurt. And then another reason, I've had to go back to work. Other people have had to go back to work. So yeah, we just can't be up there searching right now, because we have our lives that we have to keep a hold of and keep on top of. And, it's one thing when you know that somebody's out there, that could still be alive, and you want to be out there to do it. But it's a whole other thing. It's if Samantha's on the mountain, she's perished. you can't sustain yourself for as long as what some people might want to believe of her being on that mountain. You can't do it. Not the best of us, not the best of you can't be out there for this long without adequate food, shelter, and the right supplies to sustain yourself out there. So there's no reason to be out there putting anybody else's life at risk for someone who's perished. So if she's on that mountain, she's no longer with us, unfortunately, and hopefully we'll find her and be able to recover her. But yeah, so I know a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, there's no comments on here. Why can't we comment? And the reason why is because all the trolls, they get on here and start freaking trolling and get me off track or get my blood boiling. And somebody asked me, he's like, oh well, when you put a post on your Facebook page, you're so calm and collected, but when you're on your YouTube lives, you're just a lunatic. And it's like, well, yeah, some of it's theatrics, and other of it is yeah, I get really pissed off and heated when people start hitting really horrible, hateful shit on my live feed. So I just totally this time just cut it off. If you have any questions, you can either send me a Facebook message, or you could put a question down in the comments section. I didn't disable comments. Just chat. So if you got a question about what I've said in this, you can just leave a comment about it, and I'll answer it as soon as I can get around to it. But I'm gonna reiterate. No, Kevin didn't have anything to do with it. I've known killers for years, murderers. I've been around them. You could just feel when you're around a murderer. You could just tell when you're around a murderer. And Kevin's not a murderer. I mean, I've slept at his house I don't know how many times. Never had bad dreams when I've been there. Never felt I need to protect myself around him. I know one person, why are you standing so close to that edge? Next to Katie Stratter, he might shove you off of it. Yeah, no, because I trust him. You don't spill the blood in the same mud as man did with myself. And not reveal something. You don't get a little tipsy from having quite a few shots after good hard days of searching, and not let something out. Truth always remains the same, and lies change constantly. And I know that so oh well, some of the things he said, he's kind of contradicted himself. Man, when you're in the heat of the moment, you don't remember everything. Like when I was listening to the 911 call, it took him a few seconds to remember what kind of vehicle he drove, It happens when you're under stress and when you're under duress. You forget things, or you'll remember times incorrectly. Like we were on the mountain, people, oh, his timeline, his timeline, his timeline, Man, when I'm on the mountain and I got a watch on my wrist, I got my cell phone in my pocket, and you're not checking it every freaking moment. Even when you want to, even when you're like, okay, yeah, we're going to make sure we're at this point at this time, you never hit your mark. And you're always rounding up figures up or down on what time it could have been when you were here, or what time it could have been when you were there after the fact. So, like at work, it's the same thing. You wait a few days of not writing down your timesheet correctly. You won't remember what time you went to work and what time you got off if it's different from your normal day. So always make sure that you write your time of getting to work and getting off of work daily, so you don't have to worry about, man, what time did I get off last week? I can't remember. I know I took off early, but I can't remember what time it was. So yeah, we can all find reason to want to believe in Kevin or want to not believe in Kevin, but take it from the people who have been around him. Take it from the people who didn't know who this man was from the beginning, got to know him through, the search, and then pass a judgment. And I hope that my judgment isn't biased, because yeah, I've only known him since August. And I can only base off of, what I know about him off of my dealings and interactions with him on and off the mountain. And yeah, we have become really good friends. And and I trust him. I trust him completely. I trust him to be honest with me. I trust him to be, around my wife and kids if I'm not there. He's a very trustworthy man. And there's the old adage: "He who trusts in a friend can be trusted in." And it was the same way. Kevin put a lot of trust in me. He didn't know me. I know he had suspicions about everybody. He's even told me, he's like, "Yeah, I thought anybody that was up there searching what could have been involved in it." He passed judgment along with everybody else. Because he knows what he did and didn't do. Therefore, everybody else that's immersed themselves in the search is a suspect to him. And it's only going to take trial, and suffering, and proving whether what your heart is, and it'll come out. It's human nature. You can't hide something in forever. It will come out. And when you're in there going through that stuff, and going through the suffering that you go through, you ask yourself, why am I doing this? It's a joke on the trail. Why are we doing this? Why are we lugging up 75 pounds? I could be back home right now enjoying the company of my wife and children, where it's nice and warm, got real good food, nice warm house, all the amenities, but I'm out here putting myself through hell, putting myself through hellish suffering, you know, tormenting myself. Why am I doing this? Because it's the right thing to do. Because there's love in my heart and I'm going to do the right thing. You don't do that if you don't have love in your heart. You don't do that if you are a murderer and a killer. You know, sure, you might do it for a couple days and say, or a week, and say, okay, yep, oh, official search and rescue is called off. They're never going to find her. All right, I'm out. You're not going to keep going back and back and back over and over and over and over again, putting yourself at risk for somebody that is either dead or not in that place. So yeah. So I'm just going to say it again. Yep. I don't believe Kevin had anything to do with it. We could all sit here and pick up little things that we could try to say is guilt. And there's things that we could pick up and say that that's not, that doesn't support his guilt. But I'd say the number one thing that doesn't support his guilt is the fact of what that man has done, what that man has gone through, And like I said, I mean, I'm my devotion to a cause or to a company or to my friends is unparalleled. And people tell me that all the time. Your devotion to things in life is unparalleled. Your devotion to your children, your wife, your family, your loved ones, the company you're working for is unparalleled. Where does that devotion come from? You know, and there's not a whole lot of people that I meet in life that have that level of devotion to something, especially when they have no attachment to it or no reason to have, that devotion to that. And Kevin has that level of devotion. His level of devotion is on par with my level of devotion, and rightfully so. It was his woman, it was his girlfriend, his fiance, whatever you want to call it, and so yeah, so he had to have that devotion. But you're not going to have a devotion like that to somebody if you don't care about him. Because if you murdered somebody, you apparently don't care about him. So why are you going to show that much devotion to somebody you don't care about? You don't do it. It's there. And I think this whole looking into Kevin, speculating about Kevin, I think it's just a waste of time. If foul play is involved, or if foul play is a direction that needs to be investigated by the family, Lisa's family or Kevin's family, then it needs to be towards a stranger, someone either on the mountain that day, somebody who might who was there at the trailhead that day, somebody from that area. That's the place. That's the avenue that needs to be searched, needs to be looked into. because yeah, because I think Kevin, it's a dead end. It's a dead end, and law enforcement, believe that, and that's why that's why they didn't have him under investigation from the very end. There was many times when Kevin himself, you know, I seen him blow up about, yeah, they wouldn't even search the car, Sam's car. I mean, he was angry at his soul, in his soul, angry that the police didn't expect that. Didn't look into foul play, didn't look into abduction, didn't look into a criminal aspect of that. He was pissed off about it. And I remember one time when we were on the mountain, and I was after I brought up the lost persons behavior book, and in the five top categories, for missing people vanishing without traces, the number one was avalanche or rock slide, and the number two that was listed in there was criminal. Um, and it's the same book that every search and rescue manager uses or organization uses. They use this same book. And when he saw that, when he read that was the number 2, 3 reason of somebody vanishing without a trace in the wilderness, he was freaking livid. I mean, he was that. It's that uncontrollable anger, that uncontrollable rage, that in their own doctrines, in their own material, that is a possibility, and they didn't pursue that possibility, made him furious. Um, you're not going to be that upset finding that if you're guilty of having something to do with her disappearing. So yeah. So for all you the speculators out there that want to keep speculating that Kevin did it, you guys will be better off speculating that I did it. Better off speculating that any number of people who did it. But I'd say I would speculate against the person who puts themselves up there at the trailhead at the time that she went missing. That's who I would be looking at. That's who I would be thinking about. Who was up there that day? Who puts themselves there on the trailhead at the time that she went missing and is from the same state that she was from. I'd say that person has more of a high probability of being involved than Kevin. So maybe people need to start looking at that person and speculating about him. Because he straight up says it. Yeah, I was there. I was there when she was supposed to come down the mountain, and I didn't see anything. So yeah, if you got any questions, keep them civil. You can send them to me, Facebook or YouTube or whatever. I'll try to answer them as briefly as possible. I know I'm getting lots of hate messages, lots of support messages too from you guys. Thank you guys so much for the support that you've shown me, shown Sam's family, Lisa and them, and has shown Kevin, and it's been overwhelming. It touches us daily, and we made really good friends out of it. Lost some friends through it, and we just keep trucking on. And only time will tell. Time is what it's going to take for Sam to be found, or Sam to reveal herself. Let's see. The last question I think somebody asked me was my personal belief or scenarios of what could have happened. And I think I came up with 3. One, she's perished, something bad happened to her, and she perished on the mountain through an accident, and that's where she remains. 2, she was met with foul play, and I would say foul play would be she was abducted at the trailhead. You're not going to be able to abduct somebody up there on that trail and carry them down to a vehicle. You're not going to be able to kill somebody up on the trail and be able to get rid of their body in a good amount of time. So I think if it was criminal, it would be abduction from the trailhead by, either someone that's their MO. Serial killers, look up the National Forest serial killer from the East Coast. That was his MO. Then there was another guy from Alaska. That was him. His MO was snatching people from trailheads. You know, it happens a lot. You know, there's people that wind up dead. Two ladies, 5 miles from there, 10 years ago. You know, both of them murdered, shot in the head. You know, first thing Snohomish County thought, husband. It's got to be his husband. You know, they've given that guy like 3 or 4 lie detector tests over 10 years since they discovered his wife and daughter murdered brutally on the trail, and he passes them every time. You know, so I mean, it's not like, oh, Snohomish County don't entertain criminal, you know, investigations and missing people or whatnot, but you know, though that wasn't a missing persons, but you know, they know that there's that killings happen, that abductions happen, and if there's, you know, evidence of it, I'm sure that they'll pursue it. But if there's not evidence of it, then they're gonna go with, yeah, someone's just missing in the wilderness. So, um, so you never know. You know, number one thing we should all take from this is never go out there alone. And I know a lot of people also are putting on there, oh, she's a fool for going alone. She's a fool for going alone. Well, you know, she was alone in one sense, but she wasn't, because that trail is so highly populated. So many people are on that trail that she wasn't really alone. You know, there were people around her, but there were nobody that she could trust or that she knew. So yeah, always go with somebody that you can trust. Always carry protection with you, whether it's a big ass knife, it's a freaking can of bear spray, it's a pistol on your hip, you know, something. Have a spot device, have a personal locator beacon with you, have the right survival gear. Always have, you know, have the 10 essentials on you every time you go out, whether if it's for a day hike or for a longer excursion. Make sure you have things. Be prepared, like the Boy Scouts say, and when something does go wrong, you have a better chance of surviving it. So, thanks everybody for your support. Look forward to the next video or update. If anything ever comes up, I'll make sure to reveal it. Oh, another thing that people asked, well, I'll touch on it, was these clothing items and water bottle that appeared to have mountain lion uh, mountain lion sign, like it was bit by a mountain lion or tore up by a mountain lion or something like that. I keep getting that one too. Kevin sent me a couple pictures of it. For one, they weren't things that were Sam's. They were things that she might have had, but they weren't things that he believed were actually hers. Uh, it could have been something as a dog bite. I mean, the only way that you can honestly tell if it was a mountain lion was if you were able to get DNA and test it, and then be able to find out that yes, there's mountain lion DNA on this, so it must have been a mountain lion. It could have been just, you know, trash. It could have been a dog. It could have been someone trying to stage something or throw something up. I mean, with all the crazies that's been involved with this, I wouldn't be surprised if people were just, you know, trying to mess with the search or mess with us. I mean, people have been doing it from the very beginning. Another thing, no, I am not going over to freaking Steve Monchak's house and slashing his tires and breaking out his windows or whatever the freak he says is going on over there. I'm not freaking writing on dollar bills, and all that other crap. You know, that dude, yeah, you know, he's pissed me off. He's totally freaking trashed my, you know, trash talk me on every avenue that he can, trying to paint me out to be this real horrible freaking dude and all this crap. You know what? And like I said from the beginning, you know, hey dude, if you want to freaking talk shit, come to my face and talk shit to my face. Let's settle things to face, man to fucking man. You know, I'm not gonna go over and freaking slash freaking some dude's tires and break out his fucking windows in his house or in his vehicle or whatever the fuck supposed to be went down. I'm not gonna go and write freaking shit on freaking dollar bills and distribute them around the freaking town where I live. And I guess they weren't even from my town. They were like down in Mount Vernon or some shit. Is where they found them. So yeah, no. And I'm not gonna waste my time with spineless, cowardly ass freaking people. It's like from the get go, the dude revealed to me that he was a coward because what did he do? Oh yeah, you're the greatest guy, bud. You and your 49th crew are doing great things, and the next thing I know, I'm just totally blocked, and he's trash talking to me. A man that I would worry about, or a man that deserves, an ass kicking from me, or deserves any type of retribution from me, or vengeance from me, would be the man who would have been like, yeah, hey, I think you're a freaking stolen valor piece of shit. You're asking freaking people for money dressed up in stolen valor freaking uniform. I think you're a fucking no good freaking piece of shit. Meet me here. I'd have more respect for that man. And I would have went and I'd have met him there and be like, okay, yeah, I can respect you. You came to me face to face as a fucking man with some heart, and you're gonna attack me face to face. Not this, oh, I'm just going to block you and then go around and trash talk behind your back, hoping that you won't find out about it to everybody who's involved. Uh, that's not what a strong man does. It's what a coward does. And I'm not going to pay no mind. Sure, I might talk shit about the dude. He might get my feathers ruffled and get me pissed off, but he's not going to get me to go and do vile, cowardly bullshit that he's done. It's yeah. Hey, hopefully one day he'll grow a fucking spine. He'll call me up or send me a freaking message and say, "Hey, it's time we freaking meet face to face, bud, car, and I'm gonna pound your freaking face in. Let's do it. Um, let's do it." But he's not going to, because for one, he don't have a spine, and for two, if he's a good father and he's got 7 kids, he just needs to freaking leave it alone. That's why I haven't gone over there and pounded his freaking teeth out. It's because the dude's a father. I'm a father. Fathers can't be going around. We don't have the luxury to go around and fight people. We don't have the luxury to go around and torment people and wind up in freaking jail and leave our kids out there to the world. That's not what good fathers do. Good fathers bite their tongue. They hold their heat in and do what needs to be done to protect their family and take care of their family. And one thing that's not going to take care of my family is if I'm in jail. And if I'm going to go to jail because of somebody, I'm going to go to jail because I got blood for blood. I'm going to go to jail because I beat somebody's freaking teeth down their throat. That's what I'm going to go to jail for. I'm not going to go to jail for slashing somebody's freaking tires. I'm not going to go to jail for writing some crap on some freaking dollar bill or whatever freaking it was. No, I'm going to go to jail because I broke your freaking bones. I'm going to go to jail because I broke your femur. I'm going to go to jail because I broke you so bad I broke your spirit. Because that's what I come for. I don't want to break your freaking tires. You can replace those. I want to break out your windows. You can replace that. I want to even break your bones because those heal and you freaking get over it. I want to break your soul. That's what I want to come to break, is because that will last you a lifetime. A lifetime. So, yeah. Not involved in that at all. That's not how I operate. And everybody that knows me knows that, yeah, Bud don't operate that way. If Bud's got a problem with somebody, he's going to go straight to their freaking face. And if they can't resolve it face to face, then they're going to throw down. And we'll resolve it in combat. It's just, that's what made the world go round so well. Nowadays, all this freaking deceptive freaking sideshow, backstabbing, sneak thievery bullshit just don't help any side of the situation at all. So thanks everybody for your support. Like I said, if you got any questions or comments, put them down in the comment box, and I'll try to respond to them as best as possible. And I hope that this video quells a lot of the speculation and helps cut down on the constant questions I get all the time. So thanks everybody for watching. Take care. God bless. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And hope next year is better for everybody. Thanks so much.